Sometimes an indomitable attitude and an unwillingness to be a victim is more important than an advanced skill set. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. This video shows the first time I have ever seen on video someone use a defensive folding knife to protect themselves against an armed attacker. It's going to teach us some important lessons here about the importance of attitude, about how difficult it actually is to get a defensive folding knife into the fight, and about how just overwhelming an armed robber sometimes will drive them off. Just another day here when this guy in red, who's going to be our armed robber, walks in. I've sped it up just for time's sake. And when he gets up to the counter, he's going to put a gun out there on the counter and he is going to announce an armed robbery. Now, the guy in the lower right is a former Marine and a known fighter. And so he's kind of looking for his opportunity here. Now, I want to listen in on what he says. There's a little bit of language that we've bleeped out here, but I want to pay attention. We'll come back and learn some lessons in a minute.
Get out of here! Get out of here! I got him. I stabbed him. Call the police! I called him. I stabbed him.
I saw you, thanks. I called the police, don't worry.
I saw him outside. You got him on camera?
Yeah.
No one, get out of here! All of you!
He was here.
Okay. I'm a retired fireman and ex-Marine sergeant. I like to fight, I like to and I'll kill some son of a bitch that drives around me. That 32 automatic, that's death.
Thanks.
You are in the worst neighborhood in the world when you mess with an Irish.
And with that, this one is over. Now, if you go on our website, there are 8 lessons at least to learn out of this one, but I want to pay attention to a couple of the most important ones here. And that first one is that the armed robber is always going to launch the attack out of ambush. And if you're paying attention, you can launch a counter ambush if you wait your turn and you look. Now, that's what we see this guy here. He's looking at him going, wow, is he really robbing the place? He is. Now, here's what we're going to see. We don't see, armed defense with knives very much, but you see him reach into his pocket, grab his knife, use his offhand to get that knife into the fight, and then stabs him in the chest. Not exactly the strategy that I would recommend here because he's trying to use that and incapacitate the guy, but I would recommend instead that you go after that arm with the gun, and it looks like that gun actually flew out of the guy's hand, but at least here he's using his left hand, his support hand, to push that hand away that would have the gun in it so that it can't come back around to him. Now, he stabs him a couple of times here, but you notice that the guy that was the armed robber is able to get his hands in the fight as well, which is why I tell you, if you're going to use a knife for self-defense, you have to have some significant training. Now, finally, we're not going to go back to his narration here, or what he said in that moment, but I do want you to pay attention to what he said, because in that moment with the adrenaline flowing, you're going to say all kinds of crazy things, which is why we learn how to defend ourselves effectively and then get to counsel and watch what you say in the aftermath of a defensive encounter, because it can get you in trouble. I don't know that it got this man in trouble. I think he was okay and everything happened all right. This is the first time I've ever seen an actual defender use a folding knife in defense of himself and of others. I don't know that this is one that I would recommend you do it this way all the time, but he certainly had the attitude to protect himself and everyone around him, and in the end of things, he covered his asp.